What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV and a brand new Call of Duty Infinite Warfare Epic Variant Review. In today's Epic Variant Review, we'll be discussing the highly controversial X-EON WARSIGHT, one of two new Epic variants recently added to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now, unfortunately, for said recently added Epic variants, the X-EON WARSIGHT and the VPR Yokai, each are located within the Quartermaster Collection. The Quartermaster Collection, if you did not know, is a unique set of variants here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered that are supply drop exclusive. In other words, you cannot purchase these variants with your salvage, no matter how badly you want to. And so I cannot provide you with a recommendation on whether or not to purchase the X-EON WARSIGHT in this video with your salvage. As of right now, that is an impossibility. Now, we may see the X-EON WARSIGHT move to the prototype lab at some point in the future, as we have seen other Quartermaster Collection variants move from the Quartermaster Collection into the prototype lab, although I would find that very hard to believe in this case, as the X-EON is a brand new DLC weapon, and it seems like the Quartermaster Collection is becoming a place for all of the DLC weapon variants, from the X-EON to the VPR to the UDM and the RVN. All of these variants, including the Axe, are included in the Quartermaster Collection, and so I can't imagine that they would move the variants of said DLC weapons into the prototype lab at any point. So basically, you're screwed into trying to get this one out of a supply drop. Now, that being said, there have been rumors floating around of the sheer accessibility of the X-EON and VPR variants. So I've been told the X-EON and VPR variants, up to and including the epic variants of the WARSIGHT and the Yokai, are much easier to receive out of supply drops than any other variant in the game. And if the numbers that I've seen of X-EON and VPR variants on the battlefield are any indication, I'm inclined to agree with this rumor. Now, that being said, it's a rumor and we don't have actual mathematical facts, but I would say that it's about true. But take with that what you will, you're still going to have to find these variants in the supply drop system. The epic variants of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare have really been suffering recently. We haven't seen new epic variants outside of the Quartermaster Collection and Mission Team Depot in going on 2 months now. So join me for a quick prayer in the comment section down below that we will receive new prototype lab epic variants very soon. And without further ado, let's get on to the X-EON WARSIGHT. Starting with aesthetic, the X-EON WARSIGHT features a yellow-orangish camouflage very reminiscent of the Type 2 Butcher. While I find it goes with the weapon, it isn't the most unique cosmetic change in the entire world, and apart from the Optic being the main event of this variant, the yellow-orangish camouflage is the only physical alteration to the X-EON WARSIGHT. The design team could have spent a little extra time on this one. But the Optic itself is twice as large as the standard X-EON Optic and features a very special bonus which actually factors into our epic trait of the day. So throwing up the weapon card on the screen so you guys can follow along, the epic trait of the X-EON WARSIGHT is known as Threat Designator, an optic that counters active camo, cold-blooded, and hardwired. Now, we will be discussing this one in depth in just a moment, so stay with us. The common trait is Stability, which reduces your recoil and stacks with foregrip. We're going to hit the common trait first because the epic trait is where the controversy comes in. The common trait Stability will reduce your recoil and is very noticeable. Of all the things the X-EON has going for it, Recoil Control is not exactly one of them. When aiming down sights, the fire rate of the X-EON is drastically increased, and as a result, accuracy is decreased. And so any help in reducing that amount of recoil is very beneficial, especially on such a fast-firing weapon. So Stability is a great perk to have, a great trait to have, and you can stack it with foregrip, though I don't think that is necessary. And now, on to the big bad, Threat Designator. The Threat Designator sight is a massive improvement to an existing and already very talented X-EON iron sight. The X-EON iron sight, if you did not know, when you're aiming down sights with an X-EON, enemies are highlighted in an orange glow. It's essentially a built-in tracker. Now, the X-EON WARSIGHT is aptly named as it combines the efforts of a tracker sight, a thermal sight, and a target finder. So essentially, there are two methods to locating enemies when aiming down sights with the X-EON WARSIGHT. One is a covered orange glow, almost like a thermal, and the other is a tracker. So it's a beacon that attaches to enemies. When you're aiming down sights, you will see this beacon, you will see this crosshair crossing your actual optic, showing you where enemies are. Essentially, the target finder from Black Ops 2. Now, despite the X-EON WARSIGHT optic easily being one of the best, most useful optics in the entire game, countless players have had issue with it. and that is mostly because the optic does not necessarily work as marketed, or at least it seems that way. So reading directly from the weapon trait description, this optic is supposed to counter active camo, cold-blooded, and hardwired. Unfortunately, of these three abilities, it will only successfully counter active camo. When an enemy phantom rig uses active camo, they turn invisible, or very difficult to see. However, when you're looking through the optic, you will see them in an orange glow, similarly to how you see them usually. Now, if they are using cold-blooded or hardwired, it's a completely different story. If they are using cold-blooded, the orange glow that covers them will be gone, and the only remaining element that you will have to find them is the target finder crosshair that attaches to enemies. If they are using hardwired, the crosshair will be gone, and you will only see the orange glow on enemies. So if a player is using cold-blooded and hardwired, they will be completely invisible on your optic. Not invisible, but you won't be able to see them as well as you can with every other player on the field. Now, if they're using cold-blooded and active camo, they will be completely invisible because cold-blooded counters the thermal portion of this sight, and when you use active camo, the only element that is still active on the sight is the thermal portion, and that's how you see enemies that are invisible. So essentially, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It will counter active camo, but it will not counter cold-blooded or hardwired. Many players have piped up claiming the Threat Designator sight to be broken. It doesn't work. It doesn't counter cold-blooded or hardwired like it's supposed to. I, on the other hand, could not disagree more. In fact, in my humble opinion, I believe the way the optic works in-game currently is incredibly intentional, and the only problem we're seeing here is a clerical error. The description is mistaken. If you really think about it, the way that these perks counter the optic is too perfect for this to be a glitch. How hardwired removes the tracker and how cold-blooded removes the thermal portion, it's too good to be true. If this was a glitch, one perk would remove it all, or both perks, like something would happen. But of course, that's just my theory, and we will never know until Infinity Ward updates the description or the optic itself. Now, I think that regardless of this optic being broken or not, rarely people will use cold-blooded and hardwired, and so there is no real downside to this weapon. It's an amazing sight, and you're going to have a great time using this weapon. It's better than the standard X-EON, and that's saying something. The standard X-EON is easily one of the best guns in the entire game, and having all of this extra awareness with the weapon is totally worth it. Even if you run across someone using cold-blooded or hardwired, it's not that big of a deal. But that is my opinion and the end of today's Epic Variant Review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe for more daily gaming goodness. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the X-EON WARSIGHT. Follow me on Twitter at BlackTideTV and consider supporting the channel for as little as $1 a month on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.